Warning, the Shuckle Up Podcast is a podcast created by two ex-degenerates that think they know sports gambling and spent their younger days breaking bookies and never hedging. We are not experts on anything, and everything we say should be taken with a grain of salt. We do not condone illegal sports gambling, and all gambling should be done responsibly. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Now enjoy.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Shuckle Up Podcast, where we try to help you navigate the eternal abyss, the always stressful but mostly toxic but very entertaining world of sports and sports betting. But it is not as toxic as Rashid Rice's offseason. I'm one of the hosts for today, Anthony.
Hey, Mac, back here with the Made on Ridgeway Sports Podcast, back here for another week as we dive into the sports world. So let's go, man. I'm ready.
Hunter Kister back, Made on Ridgeway Sports Podcast as well. Ready to get into it. More playoffs to talk about. Exciting weekend. Had some photo finishes. I forgot to bring that up to you guys before, but a good time to bring it up is now. Photo finishes for races with some horse racing and some NASCAR racing coming down to the little split seconds. That was pretty crazy, happening in back-to-back days on the weekends. So
like by the nose of the horse, too.
Yeah, yes. Two insanely photo finish races that happened this weekend. So excited to talk about it all. Let's get into it.
What is wrong with Rashid Rice? You become one of the prime receivers for next season for the best quarterback in the league and Patrick Mahomes, and you just can't stay out of trouble. Like, you assault some dude. Now not only is he running people over like it's Grand Theft Auto, he's assaulting people.
Yeah, I briefly saw something earlier today about what he did. I didn't really look too much into it. I was pretty busy at work today, but you said he did what now? Something in Dallas. I know it was something in Dallas.
Yeah, he assaulted somebody at a nightclub or something like that. Second-degree assault, I think is what it said. And really, this young man is one of the promising receivers in the NFL because obviously he has Patrick Mahomes as a quarterback, and really, he's a suspect in an alleged assault. Okay, so let's say allegedly, all right, allegedly he assaulted somebody. But, dude, how can you not stay out of trouble? Like, it's not that hard. It injured a man in a Dallas nightclub, like you said, Kurt, and the police confirmed it on the morning news. So, what are you doing, man? Like,
Wow.
have we not learned from the Kareem Hunts, the Ray Rices? I mean, as Ray Rice's uncle or some distant family member, they got to, I mean, at least it's not a woman, right? For what we know of. I mean, we can say that about Ray Rice, but come on, Rashid. There's no reason for it. Now, if anybody can handle an issue with a player like of this, it's Andy Reid, right? He's got a history of it. He takes on Michael Vick, stuff like that. He knows how to try to deal with these players. But Andy Reid's pushing 80 years old, too. So he's not exactly in his 40s and 50s where he's a little younger to deal with that stuff.
I'm sure he'd rather not, but I figured, the speeding thing was probably maybe enough, like maybe after that you kind of just tone it down, but I don't know. It's just, these players come into the league so young, they're not really grown up yet. They're still kids and they got all the fame in the world, this money and all that. So,
I mean, if you want to go recent, Ruggs. I mean, recently Ruggs. How do you know his life is over.
Example.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even remember what happened to him other than he got caught speeding big time.
Well, no, he ran into another car and killed people.
That's right. He got in an accident too.
Yeah, doing like a $130.
I don't know. These, we're all people, and it comes off pretty arrogant, ignorant. Like they think they're above the law. They think they're invincible, but it's like, I don't know why you need to even go that fast. Why do you need to go in a car that fast is beyond me, but that's honestly pretty, what's the word?
Stupid.
It's
Stupid.
pretty stupid. It's pretty disappointing to see that, a young player, like a young player with talent, is ruining their chance at a lifetime dream and stupidity.
Right. Hey.
Stupidity, man.
Hey, how about we run a track? Can we do that? They make these places all over the world in some of these nicer areas in the world. They make sports tracks with exotic cars that you can rent and tracks where you can literally go 200 plus miles an hour in a straight line or a loop and safely do that stuff. And if you really want to do it, do it safely and not on a open interstate with people with kids and just that absolutely terrible thing that happened. And like you said, now his life's over, career's gone, took the life of another person. Just a terrible situation.
I mean, he was definitely going to be suspended for who knows how long, but just adding more to his cause. And
you just can't put your hands on people. Like, keep your hands to yourself.
What do you have to win? You have everything to lose.
Right. Yeah, that dude in the bar ain't got nothing. I mean, he ain't gonna. If anything, he's gonna sue you. It doesn't. He could start it.
Yep. You have nothing to gain from being in those type of situations. Nothing to gain.
Yeah. Well, I don't wanna beat the dead horse here, but speaking of dead horses, the Sixers are out of the playoffs. Like I said, try to put up a fight in Game 6, but I said that Game 6 would be the death nail, and it was. Jalen Brunson is a fucking man on a mission. I think the other night Sunday he hit his fifth or fourth 40-point playoff game consecutively.
Fourth straight 40-plus point playoff game.
I mean, the Pacers had them in a chokehold, ready to most of the game just having the Knicks, and all of a sudden, man, Brunson comes in. And they win 121 to 117. Beyond me, man. So I don't understand what the Knicks are putting in their water. I really think it's the Bug Bunny juice from Space Jam. I think that's what Jalen Brunson's been drinking, because I'll tell you what, man. When he needs to hit shots, he's been hitting everything. And it just goes to show you, right? It goes to show you something, a little bit something that, like in sports, that you have to have. And heart. I mean, effort, love of the game. No, not like Ben Simmons, who is. Did you hear this? I don't get on the Ben Simmons rant again. Did you hear? You would think as a basketball player with a big Knicks and Pacers game in New York at the Garden, but down the road there was a little runway modeling thing going on. Big one. It was a big one. I forgot what it's called. I'm not into it, so I don't quite remember what it is. But Ben Simmons decides to show up to that in something that looked like something out of Cam Newton's closet, to be honest with you. And
that's funny.
You're supposed to be like about basketball. You could clearly tell this kid does not love basketball, and that he did it for the 1 or 2 checks he was going to get for living off of raw talent. And it's just sad that people come into the NBA. Nobody loves their job. And if you do have a job that you're blessed to have, that you love, you are one of the few blessed people in this world. Everybody, 90% of America is doing a job that they hate. And I feel like you were given talent, and you were given a stature that allows you to be great. And you don't run with it, and you're just throwing it away. I never really understood that about some people. But Jalen Brunson is doing everything in his power to win these games. Now, does it hold up? I don't know. We'll find out, right? I mean, are you going to go 6, 7 consecutive 40-point games? I mean, the rest of the team's going to have to step up here soon. You got DiVincenzo, you got Hart. They need to start hitting some things. You can't just count on Brunson the entire playoffs. I mean, maybe he can. Maybe he's Jimmy Butler, where he's just going to take off, and that's it. That's all she wrote. We don't know, but what do you think about this?
I was trying to look up is some of these Knicks stats. Because like you said, I think that Brunson's been good, but can he hold up? I mean, I guess on the other side, Halliburton playing so poorly. I mean, you just can't have that out of your supposed superstar for him to play so poorly. But I think that guys like DiVincenzo got to keep their play up if the Knicks want to win this series, I think.
But I think it's about to them. If it is, maybe that's just what they need. Maybe Brunson has to be that guy as opposed to spreading the ball around, and DiVincenzo doesn't have to go off. I mean, their rebounds they're the best rebounding team in the NBA, in my opinion, especially one of the best rebound teams left in the playoffs. So the Knicks, having that and being able to just go punch for punch, jab for jab repeatedly at you up and down the court. I mean, the Pacers felt it. The Pacers were probably like, yeah, we got this. And then all of a sudden, here comes Brunson.
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched this game yesterday. It was actually really exciting, back and forth. The Pacers actually were up 9 points with like 10 minutes to go. And I didn't know this, but the Pacers were actually the number one offense in the NBA, averaging about 123 points per game, which was shocking to me because when I think about them, I don't think of any huge big threes or big twos, but they're just a solid five. And, I mean, yesterday was really about, like you said, Jalen Brunson, another 40-point plus game. There was a couple of questionable calls, but, I mean, at this point, it is what it is. That shit's just going to happen. But I think the main concern is the Knicks don't really tap into their bench, as that's why they don't really have any bench points, because a lot of their starters play 40 minutes, close to 40 minutes a game, and that's my biggest question is, the Pacers play at a high pace. Are the Knicks going to be able to keep up and not get exhausted? Especially if this series goes 6-5, like 6. I think it probably will go 6 or 7. And I think that's just the biggest question for New York. Can they keep up the pace? Because they don't tap into their bench at all. All their starters, the DiVincenzo, Hart, those guys all play 30, 40 minutes a game. So, but you have to give the Knicks credit. Thibodeau, their coach, they play gritty. They have high effort, and they play like they want to win. So all credit goes to them. But game 1 was pretty good. We'll see what happens tomorrow in game 2.
Yeah, which they are a 4-point favorite, 4.5-point favorite. Thing is, like I'll sit here and say, you can't put yourself behind again. I mean, you got away with it once. You can't let the Pacers come out in front again. Because you can't count on Brunson going off towards the end of the game every time. You just can't.
Or Halliburton playing so poorly.
Right. It's not going to happen every game. So we were a little correct, guys. I think we said the Cavs. We were having a conversation before the playoffs started, or not started, but we were kind of in the middle of the first round. And we said maybe the Cavs are just a good home team, and that's kind of what they've been, although the Magic they were beating them. I mean, but then D-Mitch goes off for 39 points. And in the second half, the Cavs go on a 65 to 41 point run in the second half to close this game out and beat the Magic by 12 points.
Yeah, Donovan Mitchell absolutely put the Cavaliers on his back, scoring 89 points in Game 6 and Game 7 for the second most in NBA history. And, I can't believe there's even questions about him potentially leaving there. They cannot let that man go. But,
no.
Yeah, kind of like what we mentioned a few weeks ago, each team going back and forth with whoever was the home team winning. Orlando had a solid lead, but just couldn't finish as they just were inefficient and have been all season as far as scoring goes. Banchero played his heart out, but you can only do so much when you're scoring 30. Other players got to come along with you. You can't just win with one guy anymore. Just can't win that way. So Cleveland moves on out of a 4-3 series win, and they are currently taking on Boston.
And like you said, though, Kurt, one guy can't do it, and that goes the same for Donovan Mitchell, too. I mean, it took the Cavs 7 games to take this. They should have stole one in Orlando. There was no reason for them not to steal one. And they don't. They have to win every game at home, and now they don't have home court advantage. And you're not. It's going to be really hard to steal some in Boston. Is it doable? Yeah, but not with just D-Mitch. That whole team's got to step up. But I will say, though, even if they don't get out of these, playoffs in the next round or in the finals or anything like that, I'm telling you that they're a young team, and then with D-Mitch and on that team and stuff like that, if they hold him there, it's going to build. they're going to be building something out there. They can't be a typical Cleveland team and fuck it up somehow. They can't do it. You just stay the course, Cleveland. Stay the course.
Yeah, not every year is going to be your year. You just try to.
But game one happened.
Yeah, you had a piece there.
You said game one's happening right now.
Yep, and Boston is winning 59-46. And I want to say the point spread for this game was 12.5 for Boston. And yeah, may or may not cover. We'll see. But I personally have this series going 5. At best 6, but I think Boston will probably win 4-1. I don't see the scoring coming out of Cleveland. I really don't. Mitchell can only do so much, and even then, Boston has defenders ready to go to try to slow his game down. But I fully expect Boston to win this series within 5. At most 6. I think Cleveland probably takes the game because Boston is a very heavy three-point shooting team, and, everybody has a bad night. Maybe Boston has a bad night and Cleveland has a solid night. I think they probably steal one, but 5 games, 6 is the max for me.
Hunter's worst nightmare happened. Dallas seals it, takes game 6, and outs the Clippers like we predicted. Dark horse, figured the Mavericks would have them slip up again, man. These superstars, these old superstars, they just told you, man. The ball hogs. You can't have a team full of ball hogs and win a playoff series. That's just not going to happen. It's time for the Clippers to stop buying a team and draft, okay? Because they've been, buying teams now for the last at least 6 seasons. They've tried to get these stars out here and put them together. It's just not working, man. It's time to start drafting some damn talent. And Dallas takes it, 114-101. And now they head up to OKC, and the Mavericks are plus 4 points. That's not bad. I'm sorry, Hunter. I'm going to take the Mavericks on this one. 4 points? Ooh. You're giving me 4 with the Mavericks? Give me the Mavs.
That's fair. Game 1 in OKC. That crowd's been rocking. I think best case scenario for the Thunder, I'd like to see them, or at least I think I'd like to see them split both ways, 2-2. Game 1, though, I'm going to ride with OKC. I don't think they'll drop the first game at home. I think if Dallas does steal one, it's going to be game 2. For this game 1, Dallas just went a hard 7. I think a lot of question marks about this Thunder team with them just playing the Pelicans. And, week, nobody was there, whatever, and everybody's been dogging their series. So now I think it'll be OKC wants to take it to Dallas game 1 and at least start off the series right.
I don't know. It's with Luka and Kyrie, they've been the dynamic duo. I mean, they just, it's like almost an automatic 30 from both of them, no matter how the night's going. And if the rest of the team can play well, then that's how they'll win these games. But they really are just really the dynamic duo out there, and we'll see. It'll be an interesting series. I'm excited
for the series, though. I cannot wait to watch it.
I just would have rather seen the Clippers because, like I said, a team of has-been shooters, and one okay defensive player. They were never going to go far in these playoffs, in my opinion. But what do I know? I'm an idiot. Kurt, what do you think about this?
Yeah, this is a very interesting series. Kind of have mixed opinions about this one. I'm not really understanding why everybody's hating on OKC due to playoff inexperience. Okay, so the Clippers had all that playoff experience. What did that do for them? Kawhi Leonard's a 2-time Finals MVP. James Harden's been to the playoffs most of his career. Russell Westbrook's been to the finals. Paul George never got there, but
as a cohesive unit, though, like the Clippers, each individual person on the Clippers, yes, has had playoff experience, but that team hasn't had playoff experience as a unit, and that's kind of more what the due process is. That, you know what I mean? That's how they kind of figure that. That's why they're so bad. You can't.
But I mean,
you've heard.
Yeah. Not to cut you off, but even just diving into this matchup, I mean, OKC versus Dallas. Dallas, Kyrie and Luka, when they got put together last year, they didn't even go to the playoffs. So this is their first rodeo. And Luka does have a nagging knee injury that, is bothering him to an extent. He went 1 for 10 in the last game. And Dallas has actually really been focusing in more on playing defense. That's what Kyrie mentioned at halftime. So I think the question for me is, though, if Luka and Kyrie go off, who's going to step up for OKC as far as scoring goes besides Shai Gilgeous-Alexander? I know Jalen Williams has been pretty solid for them. But I have OKC winning this series at 4-3. 4-3, I think it goes. Dallas does come off of a 4-6 competitive series, definitely more so than what OKC went with. Obviously, sweeping the Pelicans, wherever that's worth. Got to give them credit for that. But,
yeah,
OKC's young, they're fresh. Clippers, a little more older, slower. So, I think it's a whole different type of game you got to play. And OKC obviously had time to kind of study both opponents and maybe see if they get any advantages that way. But I think this would be a good series nonetheless. If anyone picks Dallas to win it, I'm not mad at it, but
I'm mad
it's a
at
toss-up.
it. Definitely, I'm mad at it.
Well, yeah, but I think we got to put some respect in OKC as they did finish as the number 1 seed with the young talent they have. So, should be exciting.
And I think one of your points, Kurt, that kind of bothers me, like you said, is who's going to step up if them two go off, right? And that's kind of my thing. Like, I'm like, all right, I can't sit here and say that I know for sure that anybody's really going to go off. So that's why I'm kind of taking the Mavericks. Even on a bad night, Luka's going to go off. Kyrie isn't hurt. He's still going to go off. I would have to see how this first game plays out and how Luka looks and stuff like that before I give like a 4-3 or a 4-1 or a sweep or anything like that. So I'd like to see that first, see how it goes. But other than that,
game 1 tonight.
I can't. It's gonna be fun. I like these set of matchups. The West is fun basketball because the other team. Now, I hope everybody, when I said go to your sports betting apps, and I want you to go grab the Timberwolves. I said go to your sports betting apps and grab the Timberwolves because they could possibly win this thing. And when I said that. All right, Kurt, when I said that was a couple weeks ago. They were 3rd in the West to win the West at plus 370. Denver was plus 100 to win the finals. I said, go ahead and throw your lot in to win the finals. Plus 990. All right, with the Nuggets, plus 240. That's what these numbers are. Okay, what happens? The Timberwolves go and they slap the Joker in the mouth as if he's just a normal clown. And I said it. Could you imagine if he cared about basketball? Like Anthony Edwards? Now, with that said, you guys should have put money on when I said it. Because for your Western Conference, the Timberwolves are a minus 120. A minus 120 to win the West. That's not all, folks.
Wow.
That's not all, folks. They are now 2nd to win the finals. 2nd to win the finals at a plus 280. At a plus 280. I know sports gambling.
Everybody loving Anthony Edwards.
I called it. Don't tell everybody. I was calling this early before. I mean, everybody loved him, but they didn't love him like this. I said, put your sneak bet in. Now they're negative money in the West. And all of a sudden, the Nuggets drop down to 4th at a plus 700 to win the West. 1, 2, 3. They are 6th.
Climb out of a 0-2 hole.
They are 6th. They are 6th in the final to win the finals at a plus 1,500.
Yeah, I'm just laughing hysterically because you literally said this a few weeks ago, but nobody probably put their money where your mouth was, and now they missed out. So yeah. Whew. Denver is in trouble. They are in trouble.
And the Wolves are winning convincingly, almost by 10 to 20 points between both games. I mean, the last game was 106 to 80. 106 to 80. Jokic has only 8 assists and 16 points. That's your superstar?
Yeah. Minnesota is a big-time defensive team. They were actually the top defense in the NBA. Obviously, Edwards is a dog. He has stepped up big time, 22 years old, and arguably is playing the best in the playoffs. And then you have Rudy Gobert, who looks like he's going to be the defensive player of the year,
Gobert,
if I'm not mistaken. I think.
Miss me with Gobert. Just miss me with Gobert. All right, he just gets handed the defense.
I'm not saying he's a beast, but yeah.
No, but the whole bullshit, like, he has like maybe 1 or 2 blocks a game, and that's just because of his height. Like, and he's going against some of these little dudes. No, I don't. I just, yeah, I'm
just saying him and Karl Anthony Towns. That's just a lot of length down low.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That's a lot of length down in the paint that Jokic is not used to dealing with, and so that's causing a lot of problems. Jamal Murray has not showed up really at all. He has really shit the bed the first 2 games. Even if he is hurt, nobody cares. When they see you out there playing, they expect a Jamal Murray. Yeah. They expect it. And Rudy Gobert didn't even play in game 2 yesterday, and they still got smacked. So, all the credit goes to Minnesota. Holding Denver to below 100 points at home, 2 games, it's not easy to do. And I think Denver is just, they got caught sleeping, man. They kind of slept through that Lakers series, just, we'll win at the end. We'll keep it close and then just do what we need to do. And that's what they did pretty much for the Lakers. They just fucked around, but these slow starts are killing them, and the Timberwolves they're not going to let you hang around. They're going to play hard every play, and that's what they've done. And they come out to a 2-0 lead, and now they go back to Minnesota. And, Denver, game 3, this is it. This is it. If you're the champ, if you're really about it, you come out and you win this game. But if not, you're burnt toast anyways. So
Yep.
I just checked my paper from like when the playoffs first started. The Timberwolves to win this were a plus 2,500 in their conference. To win their conference were a plus 2,500.
Wow.
To win the whole thing, they were a plus 5,500. And now look at these swings.
5,500.
Yes.
Wow.
Nobody had faith in Anthony. I'm telling you, man, I've been on this kid, especially the playoffs has really actually opened my eyes a lot more. I was always kind of watching him with eye kind of to the side there. And he's only 22, dude. So, like, if you're listening to this podcast, or you're listening on YouTube or anything like this, Anthony Edwards is going to be the player to watch. After LeBron leaves, after all this is going to be his league. It's going to be, people are going to want to go to Minnesota to play with Anthony Edwards because they're sweeping the Nuggets. I'm going to call it right now. They're fucking sweeping the Nuggets. They stole 2 in Denver.
Yeah.
Now they go back home?
Yep.
You're going to tell me that they're beating the piss out of Jokic at home? And now they're going to go, what? So Denver's going to all of a sudden play up to par in Minnesota with them fans being wild as well as Minnesota's doing? I don't think so. They're sweeping the Nuggets. And honestly, they're probably coming out of the West. And watch out, Boston. If they're on a mission. They're on a mission.
They're on a Michigan mission.
Something like that. Yeah. With that said, sorry, brother.
I was just gonna say that game 3 Friday looms large. That's gonna be a big game for this series.
Well, it's a 4.5 point line. That's what I was getting to. Thank you for the segue, Kurt. 4.5 point line in favor of Minnesota. So the line is still a little short. Maybe they think Denver tries to make a push, desperation, and that might happen. I just don't think it's going to happen in Minnesota. That's the thing. If it had only been 1 steal in Denver, maybe they can get one at home and push it to a game 6. I don't see Minnesota dropping it at home.
Yeah, at this point in time, it's hard not to disagree with you on that. Playoff series can flip on a dime, but I mean, these games weren't even close. Denver came out looking flat, and Minnesota took it right to them. And from start to finish, they just took it to them. I mean, Jokic didn't even score 20 points yesterday. and
That's what I'm saying. 8 assists,
he at least
16
gets
points.
that. Like,
That's it.
yep. So they, they did play last year in the playoffs, so maybe Minnesota just made some adjustments. Now Denver has to make some, or if they even can, but we'll see Friday night how that goes.
Yeah, I can't. What do you think about all this, Hunter? What do you think about Anthony Edwards? And me and Kurt kind of been on this Timberwolves train. Do you think the Nuggets have any kind of hope, or are you kind of on the same wagon as we are?
I think it's really hard to count out the former NBA champions. You know, they didn't really lose much of their team. I think that these two last games have been crazy, but it's like I also don't know how much life they could have after only putting up 80 points at home. Like, that's just outrageously bad with the caliber of players the Nuggets have. And so, like, you're only putting up 80 at home. It just kind of seems like they throw the towel in. I think, like, kind of like how Kurt said, Game 3 is going to be massive. Obviously, they lose Game 3, they get swept 100%. I think they win Game 3, they maybe push it to 6 games if they're lucky. They make a series out of it, push it to 6 games. But ultimately, I agree with what you guys are saying. Anthony Edwards is on the watch to be that next player, that next it player in the NBA. He's incredible. I really like his game a lot. I like him as a person. He just seems like a good person and a great player, so he's been fun to watch. And I'm definitely hoping that OKC can make it through this series, and hopefully we can get a Minnesota OKC West Finals.
So if Ja Morant can get his shit together, comes back healthy, and Memphis can really put a team together, it's going to be fun watching Ja and Edwards go at it. Because that's what I see. In 6 years, I see them just battling it out. You know, I know Ja's been in the league a little longer, right? He's about, what, 24, 25? A little older than Anthony Edwards.
A little bit older.
But still, I think he'll be fine. And it's gonna be a very entertaining league to watch when you get two dogs. I mean, they're dogs. I don't see them either being soft players as long as Ja Morant isn't shooting anybody. And Jesus Christ.
Right.
Right. But I did talk about it a little bit with the East and the West in the finals on where the Nuggets and Minnesota are. Boston is still favored to win both the finals and the East, and then it's Knicks right underneath Boston. It's 380. It goes from Boston minus 380 to Knicks plus 380, then the Pacers 1900. So that's the discrepancy in the East. For the West, it's minus 120 for the Wolves, OKC at plus 290. A little hope for you there, Hunter. And then it's the Mavs at plus 440, and then the Nuggets at plus 700. So I already said it. You should have took the fucking. If you didn't, don't cry. Don't cry. It's your fault. I told you to do it last week, people. I told you to do it last week. But the Wolves are going to win the West. All right. But here's their saving grace.
Whoa.
There's still plus money for the finals. Put your money in on the Wolves. Plus 280. I don't care. Boston is a very good team. Jason Tatum is a dog. I just don't know. Like you said earlier, Kurt, Boston is a 3-point shooting team, right? The Minnesota Timberwolves have a nice set of length on their team. And Anthony Edwards is a dog. So I just don't know if Boston, being a finesse 3-point shooting team, can handle that physicality.
It's a great question, and I'd be really interested to see how that finals goes if that's how that ends up turning out. But we'll see in time. But yeah, Minnesota, they're not just a finesse 3-point shooting team. They can score from anywhere. Anthony Edwards isn't just a 3-and-D player. He's a great two-way, but he can post fade. He can score inside. He's got a mid-range, and he's on quite the trajectory. That's definitely we'll see. But I don't know. I'm
just
saying,
saying.
A little jittery just thinking about all this. It's cool.
If they didn't listen to me last week, listen to me now. You remember
I was
what?
just gonna say real quick. I remember a few years ago when it was just Golden State and Cleveland every year. Honestly, I got really disinterested in the NBA. as a whole because
Right, because you knew what was
a
happening.
snake and went. Yeah, KD went to the fucking Warriors. I was like, this isn't even interesting. This isn't even. Everybody knew who it was going to be, and it was like Golden State, Cleveland for like 5 years straight, it felt like. And now it's not like that. And it's honestly really exciting. I like it.
Hey, I want to ask you a question real quick. Speaking of snakes, Kobe. And I don't mean in a bad way. He was a black mamba. So I meant that it totally is love. Not a bad thing. I got into a bit of an argument with somebody on the YouTube channel. If you don't know, go over to the YouTube, check it out. It's popping right now. And the guy was like, it was one of the comments that I said that, nobody's been doing it by themselves or whatever lately. Like Steph without Clay, there's nothing. And somebody commented, "Oh, nobody did it by themselves." I go, Kobe. Now, I know not right away. He had Shaq and all that stuff. So he tried to bring because I'm like, the 2010 title that Kobe won, I feel like he did by himself. And this guy tried to bring up to the table, well, he had Gasol and he had Bynum and Odom. And I'm like, dude, Odom was like a bench player. He's 100 years old. Gasol was 32 years old. And Bynum, you'd be lucky if his knees even operated the entire season. But I said, can you really put that team, like the Kobe and then them guys, can you really put that team with Jordan, Pippen, and Rodman, Kyrie, Kevin Love, LeBron,
no,
Steph, Clay, Draymond Green? Like you're gonna give me Lamar Odom, Gasol, and Bynum? Really? That's the company you're gonna give Kobe and go, oh, he didn't do it by himself? Fuck out of here.
Yeah, I was definitely a little more of a casual fan at that time, so I'm not exactly as knowledgeable about it, though I remember Paul Gasol was definitely a big role player for Kobe. Him and Paul would run a lot of pick and rolls, and that was like his side wing. Gasol was a really good player as far
role
as
player,
defending,
though, like
rebound,
you said.
good length. A good role player for sure, and he was probably their second best player. Then Andrew Bynum was there, Lamar Odom. They ended up playing the Dwight Howard-led Magic, and it was just a different time back then where, one player could kind of lead a team to the finals in essence because scoring back then, we were lucky to see games go up to 100 points a game. Now that's average or more than 100 points a game. So that's why we're seeing, can't just win it with one player. So,
but even in that time, you still had LeBron, Kyrie, and Love, and you still had, before that, it was Jordan, Pippen, and Rodman. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like Kobe.
I could even. Sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead, bro. No, you go ahead.
I was just gonna piggyback off of what you're saying, where a player could take over. I think of Dirk Nowitzki in that 2011 run with the Mavericks when they beat the
Miami?
Lakers. They swept the Lakers. They beat the three big Heat. They beat the Thunder. Dirk Nowitzki did it. He went the fuck off every game, every series. He balled, and there's another example right there. I could not tell you who was on that Dallas Mavericks team besides
Dirk
Nowitzki.
No, you couldn't. I just thought I'd ask before we get to the other part of the podcast, but because it kind of really was just interesting to me because it had just happened over the last weekend. So, and he just said he gave me those three players, and I'm like, yeah, those aren't even in the same kind of category that that all these other teams are right now. So that's a little bit of my juice.
This is Sparta! It's the K-Mac attack.
All right, you know the sound. Let's see what K-Mac has for us this week. What did K-Mac see, hear, or do himself that has got him ready to go?
All right, I think you guys are going to enjoy this one. So recently, I was stumbling upon the great thing known as the internet, and I saw a clip of C.J. Stroud and Micah Parsons talking on a podcast about, they got on the subject of who was the best division in the NFL, and C.J. Stroud quickly dismisses it and says AFC North.
What?
Micah Parsons says, nah, bro, you're tripping. Leading up to last season, it was the NFC East. And then those two get into a little bickering about, well, Dallas was power ranked third, and we had 3 playoff teams, and this and that. And then I looked into it, and I was like, okay, so I guess leading to last year, maybe you could say that, because the East had 3 playoff teams. We're talking about going 2 years ago, so it was the Eagles, Cowboys, and Giants. The Giants beat the Vikings. Philadelphia beats the smithereens out of the Giants. And then Dallas goes off in the first round, and they beat I don't remember who they beat, but they got to the second round, lost to San Fran or whatever. And then so they keep going back and forth, and Micah's point was just that going to last season, the NFC East was supposed to be better than the AFC North. And then this past season happens, and it's not even close. And the best thing about this is that these 2 divisions are going to be playing this year. And I'm really looking forward to it, because Micah Parsons, I just, every time you open your mouth, I just dislike you more and more, dude.
He wants to be an Eagle so bad.
He
wants to be an Eagle so bad.
He is the perfect Cowboy player I've ever seen that believes in their own delusion. How are you going to say, well, we were ranked 3rd? So you read the power rankings, you read the off-season headlines that writers write. I just thought it was comical, and I'm just ready for it. I'm ready for it because last year we had 3 playoff teams. The East still had 2. Obviously, everyone in our division had a winning record. And in the East, Dallas and Philly were strong, and then the Giants and Washington, not so much. And I was just like, I don't know if he was being a troll or if he was being dead serious, but I just thought it was comical that he said that. But
well, so he
a
plays
lot of
in
people
what?
were outraged in the comments.
The AFC South, right? So we played
CJ
the year of the
Stroud.
Super Bowl. The AFC's the 2023 Super Bowl that season, we played the AFC South, and we murked all of them. We beat the Texans, we beat the Jaguars, we beat the Titans, and we beat the Colts that season.
CJ Stroud said the AFC North is the best division. It was leading into this season.
Oh, I thought so. He wasn't making a case for his own division. He was making a case for.
No, he quickly just said AFC North. That was it.
I don't know. We've owned the Steelers the last couple years, so I don't know. Cincinnati, we always have a tough time with Cincinnati. And then the Cleveland Browns is hit and miss. To be honest with you, we beat them, but I don't remember playing the Ravens all that often, really, to be honest with you. So it will be interesting to see. But I will say this.
No, I would say we don't play that often. It's every 4 years, 3 or 4 years, give or take. So
The NFC East have something that all the other divisions don't have. They have a Super Bowl champion for every single one of their teams. So, I mean, that's an accomplishment. They're the only division and the first one to have a Super Bowl ring for each one of their teams in that division. Right?
yeah, I mean, if you're talking all the time, but we're talking recently. I mean, man, come on. Washington has not been worth a schmuck, and
No, it's been 2 teams recently, right? Recency bias, it's been Dallas and the Eagles. I mean, that's it. I mean, they're really good teams. Them 2 are really good teams. If there was NBA seeding, unless there was a tie, it would have been Eagles and Dallas. Like last year, Eagles, they would all be seeded in the actual playoffs as opposed to being either one of them being a wild card. So, no, the Eagles did not deserve to be in the playoffs last year.
I just thought it was something juicy, and I just, Micah Parsons, I can't stand that fucking dude. I really don't like him. I really do not.
I hope he's an Eagle soon. I really hope that Jerry threw all his money away on Zeke. Think about this for a second. They wouldn't give Zeke $9 million to re-sign him, right? That's what the thing was. Like the Patriots gave him like $9,000 or something like that.
Oh yeah.
But they cut him early, and there's like they owe him like $3. They owe him like $3 million still for this year, and they sign him for $6, so he gets his $9 million anyway.
Oh. Yeah, and that's your go-to move at running back.
And so I hope they don't have any money to pay Micah, because I could use him. We need a middle linebacker and all-around edge rusher. I'll take him. You might not like him, but I'll take him. He's a great player.
I think he's good. I just don't. The hype is just unbelievable. When I see people comparing him to LT, are you kidding me? Let's slow the fuck down, bro. Like, LT is the greatest defensive player of all time. Like,
hey, don't shortchange Reggie. Don't shortchange Reggie.
I mean, it's close, but I mean, LT.
Oh, here we go.
LT literally made the left tackle one of the most important positions in offense. I mean, he was on crack, but he's still fucking just was a man mauler. I mean, he was definitely on crack. There's no doubt, but I really wish there's times where I wish I was older to see some of the legends. Like, I really wish I would have been a bit older to see some of. I've gotten to see some great players in my time, but man, I missed out on a lot of good ones.
Well, man, it ain't gonna stop. It ain't gonna stop.
Defense just isn't the same anymore. It's just not. It's not. It's
no,
never gonna be the same.
Not.
It's only gonna go down.
I was watching some Brian Dawkins highlights the other day, and he like literally body slams, like picking up suplexing people. I'm like, if that happened today, he'd have been ejected out of that, even though it's a legal tackle.
Suspended. Kicked out of the game. Like, it's honestly insane. Just like, even just what you said, like going back, what you're talking 2000. 07, 08, 06, 09?
Oh no, those
somewhere in there?
Brian Dawkins got probably drafted in like 01, like 2000.
Okay, so 05.
He played.
So we're talking a little over 15 years ago, and half of that shit would not even be allowed today.
No,
it's
but
crazy.
I know that before when we talked about your K-Mac attack, I was going to add some seasoning to your plate you just served the people. And I'm going to come over with the cheese grater like Olive Garden does, and I'm going to grate some cheese all over your pasta, all right? To add to the K-Mac attack. Now, we all know what I like to do. I like to coach. I haven't played a lot of sports, but I've coached a lot of sports. And I was at a tournament this weekend for Jackson Soccer, travel soccer team. We went down to Columbus area. And I don't understand the coach that wants to fill his middle school coaching trophy case. I don't understand hey, I know that I have a team that should be in Division 1, but I'm going to drop them down to Division 3 and just shellac every team in the tournament just so I can get a trophy. There's no way, dude. There were kids with mustaches. Mind you, Jackson is how old? 11, going to be 12. And there were kids that were like 5'5" with mustaches on this team. Right? Maybe they're 14, he's in 13U, 14U. But these kids look like they're 15 years old. And I tell you what, I
don't even have a mustache.
I can barely grow a mustache. So, really, I just don't understand why these coaches think that they can do whatever they want to win trophies. It's really not even worth it. But hey, if you guys can just stop doing that, that'd be awfully great. That'd be awfully great. And that's just my little K-Mac attack that I thought I would start there. But speaking of attack, we're gonna attack the net. We are gonna light the lamp, Hunter.
It's time for Hunter's Hockey Hits on the Shuckle Up Podcast, brought to you by Hunter Keister.
All right, that sound it is time for Hunter's Hockey Hits, where it is playoff hockey, so Hunter's going to bring us the hits for this playoffs.
Let's get it. We got Carolina, New York Rangers, kicking off round 2. Game 1 was on Sunday, 4-3 finish from the Madison Square Garden, the home of the Rangers. That was a very good, tight game. Game 2 is going on right now, middle of the second period. It's a 2-2 hockey game, so that series is going to have a lot of goals, and I think it'll be probably a 6 or 7 game series if I had to look at it right now. And looks like whoever comes out of that series has a really good chance to at least make the Stanley Cup, if not win it. I think those are, as I said, I said Carolina and Dallas was my prediction, but I could very easily see the Rangers making the Stanley Cup Finals if they're able to get rid of the Hurricanes. Boston advances after beating Toronto in another Game 7. Toronto, they lost their 6th straight Game 7. Just an awful, awful run the Maple Leafs had been on. And they lose again for a 6th straight time. And Boston avoids their 2nd straight 3-1 reverse sweep that was coming if they would have lost a Game 7. So Boston and Florida meet up in the second round, and Boston throttles Florida in a game where I thought Florida with the fresh legs would be a little better. It was the exact opposite. Boston went into Florida and beat them really bad 5-1 to kick off Game 1 of their round 2 matchup. And now Florida back against the wall. Must win Game 2. Don't want to go back to Boston down 0-2.
Oh, yeah. All right. Sorry about that for a second. Things got a little weird because the sirens are going off here. It's bad weather here in Northwest Ohio, and we are looking at some possible tornadoes dropping. There've already been some touchdown in Indiana, and the same storm system that we got going on that's now traveling this way. So hopefully, hearing this podcast, I'm still kicking, but hopefully everybody was safe. You guys be safe as well. But we're going to continue this podcast because just like my job here that, I'm rocking the food drive shirt for this weekend, rain, snow, shine, this podcast is recording and we are down to grind. That's how that's going to happen. But Hunter, I would like to really revisit these East and West and finals for the finals. Well, the Stanley Cup finals anyway for this. And really the Rangers are still up top for the East and the Oilers are still at the top for the Stanley Cup Finals and the West. Now, I don't know. I feel like the Rangers and Carolina have been really, really, really good, and they've been really, really doing their thing the last few games that I've seen them played. Are the Oilers that good to where they should still be up at the top to win both? I mean, to win at least the Stanley Cup?
I like the Oilers. I do. I think McDavid's in a world of his own. He's just an elite hockey player. But that Toronto or that Canada curse is real, man. It's been like 30-some years since the Canadian team has won the Stanley Cup. And I think that I don't really see Edmonton breaking that curse anytime soon. They get close, and somehow they're just not able to finish the job. I'm looking up the playoff bracket for them, and they get through the Canucks. They got the Dallas Stars or Carolina Hurricanes or Colorado Avalanche waiting for them, and I just don't like them. I don't like their chances. I could definitely see them getting through Vancouver, but that will be a tough series, probably 6 or 7 games if I had to guess. And then they'd have to play either a really tough Dallas team who took out Vegas and Colorado, or an Avalanche team, that beats the Stars. And I don't know how I like Edmonton's chances, especially if they get through all that. Then they play who I'm expecting, probably the Rangers. The Hurricanes are definitely in there, I think. And then, Boston and Florida. So I don't like Edmonton's chances.
Well, it's 2-2 against with the Carolina and Rangers. But you know who I kind of like in the West that might overcome the Oilers is I like Colorado. Colorado's been playing pretty nice. I watched a couple of their games over the weekend. They've been playing really good. But the Rangers and Carolina, it's a shame. It is a shame that they play each other right now instead of like the Eastern Conference Finals, because it has been a really good back and forth. I was telling you
Yes.
earlier that Sunday I was watching a game, and like within the first 1 to 2 minutes of that game, boom, boom, scored on each other. I mean, the first period was full of action, and then they kind of settled down and they kind of held each other at bay for a moment. But I mean, I'm a little sad. But I don't think the Panthers or Bruins are good enough to overcome the Rangers or Carolina, whoever comes out of that. But for the East, I mean, the Rangers are 220, Carolina's a 260, Boston's a 290, Florida's a 290, so it's pretty even keel right there. The biggest discrepancy, like we've talked about it a little bit, is the West, but even the top three teams, the Colorado Stars and Oilers are all within 100 points of each other. It's plus 175 for the Oilers, plus 220 for the Stars, plus 260 for Colorado, and then it drops all the way down to plus 650 for Vancouver to win the West. And then for your finals, you got plus 410, Stars plus 500, Colorado plus 550, Rangers plus 550. So here's my thing. If you got a little bit of extra money, go put your money in on the Rangers and Hurricanes to win this whole thing, to be honest with you. I mean,
Yep.
At plus 550?
I would definitely say that. Yeah.
I mean,
they're both 550?
Yeah. All three.
Colorado,
the Rangers, and the Hurricanes are all 550.
Oh, man.
So, okay. So with that said, I don't see it wouldn't be wasted money. One of them's you would have to catch it now, because when one of these teams actually win the series, those odds are going to come down, and it's going to be like plus 300 at that point. That's why you get it at 550 right now while you still can. So I would go to your sports betting apps and I would definitely check those out. So those are my opinion for the futures. It's kind of hard to do hockey games and playoff games individually, because we obviously record on Tuesday and we got games playing tonight and tomorrow. So a lot of the Thursday, Friday, Saturday games aren't up yet. So really, I like to try to just get these gambling numbers out future-wise to kind of give the people a taste of what I'm thinking, and really make some futures money as opposed to daily game money, because it's really hard to get that out to the people. You can always check our socials, made on Ridgeway and Shuckle Up, to actually get some of those, So
daily bet, baby.
So make sure. Yeah. Just like the Timberwolves. I'm gonna ride on that Timberwolves call. I hope they actually win, so I could just gloat for the whole offseason of the NBA, because I've been
the next 2 years. I've called it.
I've been riding the wolf now for a while when it comes to the yeah. So we'll see what happens with that. But all right, y'all know what time it is. That means it is time for Andy Up Anthony's Premier Parlay Picks of the Week. So let's head on over to the Premier League, and we're going to look at Man City minus 460. We're going to take Everton minus 250, and Tottenham, all right, minus 320. Arsenal minus 270. We're going to wrap that up in a bowl for a plus 320. And we're going to put some money down on there. Now, it's really cool because it is still a 1-point race in the English Premier League between Arsenal and Man City. Really, Liverpool is taking a back seat. They're at 78, but Man City and Arsenal are 1 point away from each other at 83 points and 82 points. Man City is in second. That's my team. I really would like to see them pull away, but honestly, you don't ever know, because it's a point system, which kind of sucks. It'd be dope to just they gotta get on the American bandwagon and do tournament style. You know what I'm saying? Get the seeding going and stuff like that. That'd be kind of dope. Messi is lighting it up over here in the MLS. They're at the top spot right now, which who saw that coming, right? Like Lionel Messi comes over and all of a sudden Miami's the best, American team, right now in the Major League Soccer. I didn't see that. But hey, don't sleep on the Columbus Crew, man. Columbus Crew is still doing some work out there. I mean, Messi might be Messi, but I don't know, teams do, it is about teams, you know what I mean? It's teamwork.
Team. All about the team.
The Columbus Crew actually won the Americans Champions Cup, which means like Central America, North America, their best teams all play each other. And I believe they're either in the finals or they just won it. It's one of the two. I can't remember off the top of my head. I forgot to mention that. I should have freaking wrote it down. I totally forgot about that. So Columbus is still out here putting in some work. So again, if you guys got any time, check out some soccer. I know it's NBA playoffs and I know it's NHL playoffs, but Sunday morning, afternoon, Saturday, sometimes Mondays, soccer is fun. Soccer is fun. Unless you're playing down a division. Unless you're taking all your 15-year-olds and playing down a division and waxing a bunch of 12-year-olds. All right, that's the only time soccer is not fun.
That's fun for them. That's fun for them, and it builds character.
That is the most fraudulent trophy.
It builds character. It builds character for you guys.
I swear to God. And then these kids get all hyped.
He's got more middle school trophies
than. How can you even
than.
feel validated winning that way? Like that's like if we go play flag football with 6th graders.
Listen, there are these things called little penises, and sometimes guys have them, and it's usually those guys who play down. Yeah, they got a little ding. They got a little ding-a-ling. All right, that's little ding-a-ling energy. That's how that happens. All right, that's why, because they're like, oh, since I can't get any vagina, I can just dip my little ding-a-ling in this trophy cup that I won by coaching a bunch of 15-year-olds to beat a bunch of 12 and 13-year-olds. Fucking bitch. Oh, guys, but if you are not a bitch and you enjoy this episode of the Shuckle Up Podcast, please go like and subscribe to our podcast, and also please share all of our content on our social media. Head over to Apple Podcasts and leave us a review. It helps others find the podcast, and we enjoy reading them as well. If you have any cares, questions, or concerns, please email us at shucklepodcast@gmail.com. You can find Kurt and Hunter at everything on Made on Ridgeway Sports Podcast. And go over to Twitter and follow myself, Annie Up Anthony. Go follow Hunter at Hunter_Keister4. And you can follow K-Mac at K_Mac7. Thank you for listening, everyone. And remember, do not bet your mortgage.